Hello and welcome to the World Cup Minute. My name is Josh. I'm here with Brandon. Brandon, how are you?
I'm great. 60 seconds going on the big board right now, Josh. Let's see if we can actually do it in 1 minute. Now, one minute was never the goal. It's basically,
No.
for people who have listened to me and Josh for years, we know when we say a podcast is going to be 30 minutes, it's an hour. When we say it's going to be an hour, it's an hour and a half. It's like my Uncle John, Josh.
Yeah.
If dinner's at 6, tell him it's at 5:30.
Well, that's right. It's a marketing trick, Brandon. We've baited. If you're listening, you've been baited and switched, Brandon. So I'm sorry to everybody for this elaborate trick that we pulled. I think we the cat was out of the bag pretty early. I think the first pod we did in this series was about 45 minutes long, and a normal episode of the classic, Always Cheating Classic, the Always Cheating Podcast, is about an hour and 25. So this is still very short by our standards. And again, we're now, a minute in? We haven't even talked about anything yet. So let's get into it. World Cup Minute, Day 11. Congrats to Australia, France, Poland, and Argentina. Those teams will now play on Saturday and Sunday. Argentina-Australia is at 2 p.m. on Saturday, and Poland-France is at 10 a.m. on Sunday. Brandon, you have been leading the Australia slander charge pretty much nonstop, and I've been trying to stop you, honestly. I've been trying to keep you reined in, and you're uncontrollable. So
yeah, I'm a juggernaut.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah, neither of us really gave him a lot of credit, did we, going into this?
No, we didn't, and it was a hard team to judge. Nobody really expected this from them, but you have to applaud. I mean, they have won more games than the U.S. have. U.S., mind you, still World Cup champions, but it did fill me with some joy to see Aaron Moy out there. I enjoyed following Aaron Moy during his Huddersfield exploits. Very elegant player on the ball, and
I like Moy
the
too.
dude who
very
scored the goal.
He's streamlined.
He is very aerodynamic.
I don't think he has alopecia, but he's just a very streamlined kind of guy.
Yeah, he is very streamlined. Matty Ryan, good goalkeeper. The dude who scored the goal today, whose name I have not committed to memory.
Is that who scored today? It was let me pull it up here. I think it was it Matthew Leckie? Yeah, it was him in the 60th minute.
That was an incredibly taken goal, the way he juked this way and that way and slotted it very coolly. I suspect we may hear more from him later on down the line.
Yeah. You know what they are? They're like the Costa Rica in the 2014 World Cup team. Remember that Costa Rica team? I think they ended up losing in the quarterfinals of that tournament. Maybe it was just the run of 16, but they had this team that sort of very similar, I think, they just played well together. It was just, there was a lot of spirit. And, we were talking about the African supporters yesterday. I feel like it's kind of the same with Australian supporters. Like, you just want to get on board. There's just something about how excited they are, how happy they are, all these photos of these cities in Australia celebrating. And that's just what it's all, not to sound super corny and cliche here, but it's just like what it's all about. It's just fun. It's just fun to see people take it so seriously. And it's sort of in contrast to, you were talking a little bit yesterday about the English press, right? And just how sour everything is, even when they win. And it's sort of, and there's something to be said at times for having lower expectations, because it's kind of why you like being a Fulham supporter, right? It's sort of, whereas as an Arsenal fan, I'm just a wreck this entire season, right? They've been ahead, top of the league the entire year, and I'm still just waiting for the other shoe to fall. Yeah. And I know England, Argentina, a lot of the other clubs out there were certainly feeling this way. Although Argentina, I thought, played, not to jump ahead to it, but I thought they played really well today. Dominant. They 2-0 could have been 4-0. It was really big.
I agree that Argentina could be that team that is hitting form and hitting their stride just at the right time in the tournament. And if they can carry on how they looked today against Poland into the knockout stages, then they'll just keep picking up steam all the way to the final, perhaps. Yeah.
So we could, in theory, have an Argentina-U.S. quarterfinal game, which would be crazy. It'd be awesome. I mean, I'd love it. That would be next Friday if that happens. So we'll see. But let's win our first game first. I don't want to. We'll have more time to talk U.S. stuff as we get closer to Saturday. But yeah, Australia beats Denmark. Denmark, I have to be considered one of the real disappointments of the tournament. I mean, they just could not score, and that's just a recurring problem. If only poor I don't know. I feel like there was so many forwards, so many great forwards who were not involved in this year's tournament. It's like too bad they couldn't import one of them for their match. Because I saw how they lined up today, and you're like, well, the midfield looks good, defense is good, and then you looked up front. It was just kind of a. I mean, I'm not. Maybe the Danish have really are in love with some of these players up front, but it was just kind of a collection of. There just wasn't like a super talent up front for them, and I think that really. Hurt them today. It was sort of, Mexico, I thought maybe had the same problem, and then they really picked up steam near the end. Unfortunately, it wasn't enough. But Denmark, they're out, let's hopefully get... But, it's probably the end of a cycle for a lot of them, right? We probably won't see Schmeichel again. Probably won't see Eriksson. Pierre-Emile Højbjerg is going to play for the next 20 years, so we should certainly see him again. Yeah, so we're in between a cycle for them. So so long to Denmark, but Australia kicks on. The other match that I thought was kind of interesting in the morning was the France-Tunisia match, and I didn't know the names of half the players that France started today. They're so deep; they didn't even start Saliba. I'm actually wearing this Arsenal scarf today in tribute, Brandon, to poor Will Saliba. Couldn't get on the pitch.
Yeah, but I was excited to see Kingsley Coman start. I've enjoyed watching him in the past for Bayern Munich. He blew a golden opportunity. It did seem like France knew there was really nothing at stake for them. I mean, goal difference was not likely to catch up to them. And if they have an opportunity to rest their players who are in the middle of a long club season ahead of the knockout stages, then why not? I mean, it's going to be disappointing if you're a French fan to see them drop points, lose a little bit of glory, a little bit of shine. But you're familiar with the rope-a-dope tactic, Josh.
Sure.
Maybe it's a cheeky way heading into the knockout stage for France to not show their best side and to give their opponents a little bit of hope and then come out and just deliver a knockout blow.
It just didn't matter. And I think that because they won so handily in that opening Australia match, it was just very unlikely that they even lost the group. And so I think you're right. It made sense to sort of play possible a little bit. By the way, Saliba, I just checked, he did come on in the 60th minute. So he has now got a World Cup cap in him. So congrats to my boy Saliba. I can take the scarf off now, I guess. So they're through. I think that they have to be considered one of the strongest contenders in terms of, it was a team that I thought maybe was the strongest contender going to the World Cup, and we've seen nothing to disabuse us of the notion unless the performance of their second team worries you, which doesn't for me. I think they'll be fine.
The fact that they have a second team is the thing that should actually worry opposition. These guys are coming ice cold off the bench into this match. With no clear stakes. So I don't read anything into that. I was looking at the prospective bracket today, Josh, and I'm predicting a France-Spain final, which is odd for a cup that was predicted to be dominated by South American teams. That's where I'm at right now.
Yeah, now that Argentina sort of picked up their. I mean, I don't know. No Brazil or Argentina. It's hard to say. I haven't looked. We need more bracket talk. Maybe we need a dedicated bracket talk section, Brandon, when we include all the Group 3 matches. But so we'll see. I'll stick with my France pick for now. That brings us to Group C. Incredible drama today. I'm actually kind of surprised we didn't lead off with it. The final 20 minutes, really from the second. So Mexico scores 2 right out of the gate, and really coming into the second half, and suddenly goal difference is in play. Argentina then scores 2 at almost the exact same time, and so now we're in a situation where if things stand, it just came down to yellow cards, and Mexico had more yellow cards, and so they were sort of in a position where they just needed to, convince Poland to hurt Argentina. It was there was nothing they could do. I mean,
they could score another goal and win and move ahead on goal difference is what they could have done.
Right. Yeah, of course. Yeah. And so, which they were trying to, I just meant in terms of where things stood with 30 minutes left in that match. And they got so close, as did Argentina. I mean, it's kind of remarkable to me that neither team scored those final 30 minutes.
It really is.
This was about as dramatic. I can't remember a single moment in the 2018 World Cup that was as dramatic as the final 30 minutes of these two matches today, because everything hinged on a goal, and it was just. It was very open. I mean, Saudi Arabia didn't really have like a ton to play for, right? And so they weren't time wasting really. They were just sort of. There was that moment where the guy got hit in the chest and then fell to the ground for 5 minutes. I don't know what happened there, but in general, and even Poland, I think they probably wanted to try to time waste, but Argentina were just too good, and so there really wasn't a lot they could do. And there was a chance very late in that match where Messi had the ball. Actually, there were a couple. Lautaro Martinez was clear through as well. Yep. He blew a big chance. Either of those go through. Mexico had the offside goal, just barely offside, and so not the later offside goal where he was like 3 feet offside, but there was like a goal in the 55th minute or whatever where they were just barely offside. So I think Mexico definitely saved some face in the end, and I think by the end of it, I was really seriously pulling for Mexico to pull that one out. And
we said it before, Josh. Mexico is a tournament team, and they just waited a little too long this time around to turn on that charm. But yeah, I agree. They walk away heads held high. Fans would be proud, especially of that performance. And that's like the taste left in the World Cup's mouth is people will think, oh, Mexico, not bad, pretty good federation.
yeah, and they
See you next time.
They didn't get their engines. What they hope to have is a better, like they need more of a forward in 4 years. It's sad seeing Raul Jimenez out there. I've said this before, but it's just not quite the same anymore. So Poland, Argentina's through. Poland is through as well. Now, not a great performance, as you said, as you were saying to me before the match began, or before the podcast began. But I think Szczesny alone, it makes them kind of fun and interesting because he has been incredible. That penalty save was awesome, and I thought the commentators were a little unfair because they were like, "Oh, it's not a great pen for Messi," and I'm like, "Yeah, but it's got some loft. It's." Like, he had to stick a hand up. Like, it wasn't like he just, like, dove, and he dove the right way. It was like he dove the right way, and he's still, while diving, he had to put a hand kind of behind him. I'm gesticulating right now as I do this, but he had to put a hand behind him to stop it. That is just not an easy thing to do. Yeah, it's just not an easy thing to do.
It's true. The commentators will be inclined to say if the shot is struck in the middle height-wise of the frame, that if you put it at any height that's not in the roof, it's a good height for the goalkeeper. But I agree, like, it's not like it was a height where Szczesny could push it away. It was a height in which he had to reasonably reach for it and have a hand that was strong enough to claw it away. So I agree. Yeah. And I mean, Messi's pen record, I don't have the exact record, but he's notorious for being kind of a this is not one of the stronger parts of his historic game. Let's say that. And then what is worrying for people who will play Argentina going forward is Messi then recedes from the game a little bit, and the rest of the team then proceeds to demolish Poland.
Yeah, our boy Mac Allister came through with the opening goal. He's looked great for Brighton this year too. He's been. I just love the name. So we don't usually get, he gets credit for the goal as Alexis McAllister, but it wasn't until recently that I think maybe going into the season that I remembered that he was from Argentina, like his McAllister. Just sounds like he came over from the, I don't know, from the Highlands or something.
He's listed on the FootMob site as Allister, so that's how he lines up. There's no Mac, so I don't see. It is the South Americanification of McAllister.
Okay, weird. So he's just okay. Well, anyway, so he scores. Alvarez scores as well. He, just what luck to have so much attacking talent. It's like just to pluck even any one of their like 9 brilliant attacking players and drop one of them to Denmark, and Denmark is probably through to the next round. So, but a great, they're just loaded. I mean, they're kind of always this way, right? I mean, Sergio Aguero used to not be able to get into that Argentina team, right? That's just how loaded they were up front. So they're through, and Poland is as well. That brings us to tomorrow's matches. We've got Canada, who sadly are no longer cannot advance. They play Morocco, and Croatia play Belgium. Those are the again, they flip these around, but those are the Group F matches tomorrow. So it's really tight though. We have Croatia and Morocco are on 4 points. Belgium are on 3. Belgium have not looked convincing at all so far this tournament. Lucky
this match is going to be the battle of who could care less, Croatia and Belgium. And Croatia, it's the opposite. Like Croatia's kind of cruising to win the group without kind of like moving into high gear, and Belgium is just it's catastrophic. So
So if Croatia goes through, if they beat Belgium, they can also advance if they draw versus Belgium and Morocco lose to Canada, which I think is not outside the realm of possibility, because I think Canada, maybe when the pressure's off a little bit, they might. I don't know. I don't think they're going to give up. This is just they just have not been to enough World Cups for them to just like take the third game off. I think they'll be pretty motivated. Morocco will advance to the round of 16 with a win or a draw versus Canada. So all Morocco needs to do is win or draw tomorrow. So I guess if you're looking for entertainment, I might keep my eye on the Belgium game instead. That probably be a little more entertaining. And Belgium can win with a win over Croatia. So in both cases, both teams really do need a win to advance. Belgium Croatia have multiple ways, but they can't know that going in. So they have to kind of go in thinking that they can, that they need to score and in advance. So I think it should set up pretty nicely. I mean, I don't even know. Do you have any predictions for who you think is going to go through of these? I guess the 3 teams that are in contention.
I mean, it's really all down to Belgium. If Belgium can show up and put up some kind of a fight, then I think it gets very interesting, and you could see Morocco and Belgium go through. But I do think that Croatia has enough, and the bust-ups in the locker room are bad enough for Belgium that this group looks exactly like it does today as it does at the end of the day tomorrow, and Croatia and Morocco go through.
Yeah, I just think that it's just hard. Belgium's hardest match is the match they play tomorrow, right? So maybe, like you said, maybe they do come through, but this is the one that of all the matches they were going to play in their opening group that you think would be the hardest for them, and so they need to win it. So I think they're really in a tough spot. And just there's something about Croatia, they just seem too tough. It's just hard for me to think, oh yeah, Belgium's going to beat them 2-0 or something like that. It just feels like Croatia's going to find a way to get something out of this match.
Totally.
So I guess they really have to try to win it as well. I'm just repeating myself, but this is the problem with these scenarios. You've got to like hold 9 different ideas in your head as you figure it out. But basically, Croatia really have to expect Morocco to win when they play Canada. Morocco just has a lot more to play for. Even though I think Canada will be up for that match, Morocco has everything to play for. They've also looked really good. I think Morocco's looked pretty impressive so far in the tournament. Certainly did in their second game. So I think that Morocco to me is like the team that I'm the most confident about. I think Morocco's going through, and the other one is basically whoever wins that match between Croatia and Belgium.
Morocco will just be praying that Croatia Belgium match doesn't end in a draw.
I guess that's really the situation, because Belgium can advance with a draw and a loss by Morocco by more than 3 goals, right? So that's not happening. So they basically...
It doesn't feel likely. It does not feel likely.
Does not feel likely. All right, so that's where we are with Group F. That's pretty exciting. And I'm actually I'm taking a Acela tomorrow, Brandon. I will not take the quiet car. I will take the talking car, whatever that is. And I'm going to put this game on my laptop.
You're going to purposefully talk to your neighbors?
Yeah, exactly. Hey,
get a real vibe going.
Yeah, look at this. Look at that free kick over there. Yeah, exactly. Like, hey, get a load of that. Hey, you want a Heineken? No, but I am looking forward to that match. That brings us to the other group that plays tomorrow, which is Group F, and it's the final match for them as well. That's Japan, Spain, Costa Rica, Germany. So again, we're in a situation where I think in this case, all 4 teams could still advance. I mean, Germany insanely is the one on 1 point of these groups. So Spain are already through, or actually no, they're through with. Sorry, just scratch what I just said, because that is not true. Spain are through to the last 16 with a win or a draw versus Japan. They win the group with a win over Japan. They can also advance with a loss to Japan and a draw between Costa Rica and Germany. This is all off the top of my head, Brian. I'm not reading from a script here. These are all just things
amazing.
that I know. Yeah. Japan is through the last 16 with a win versus Spain. They can also advance the last 16 with a draw against Spain and a draw between Costa Rica and Germany. So I'm not going to talk about the win the group scenarios because that's just a little too complicated there. Costa Rica can advance with the fact that Costa Rica even can advance is crazy to me because they looked so bad in their opening match.
Yep.
But it's still on the table, so they can advance with a win over Germany and a loss by one of Spain or Japan, or a draw between the two. And then Germany can qualify for the last 16 with a win and a loss by Spain or Japan. So basically, if Spain or Japan have like a gentleman's agreement when it's 1-1 or something in the 60th minute, Germany's out of the tournament because if those two teams draw, I don't even think it matters how many goals are scored. I think if they just draw, it doesn't actually matter. Can that be true? No, I don't know. I gotta do a little more math there. They can also advance with a win by more than one goal in a Japan draw. I should read my entire script here, Brandon, before I start to confuse everyone listening to the podcast. So, 2 ways for Germany to go through. Okay, ready? Way number one, a win and a loss by Spain or Japan. They can also advance with a win by more than one goal in a Japan draw. Okay.
So Japan I got
draws.
It.
Yeah.
You know what? Japan really screwed themselves losing to Costa Rica.
Totally.
And I fear for them. Now, miracles could happen, and they came out and they really took it to Germany, so why not do the same to Spain? But I think Germany looked good enough in that draw against Spain that I have every reason to believe they put Costa Rica in a body bag.
Oh, yeah.
And I think Spain, as I was saying earlier, Spain are one of my favorites in the tournament. I think Germany finishes second beneath Spain in this group.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it's actually working out. From a fan's perspective, this is probably ideal, which is that you get the early upsets. They're very exciting. They're cool. But then you get the round of 16 and on with all of the best teams in the world. And so you get the kind of drama of what the teams are going to advance. But then in the end, they do, just barely. And then we get to kind of reset in the round of 16. It's probably
Is there such thing as too much of a good thing, Josh? Are we basically heading into Willy Wonka's Candy Factory?
Yeah, now you sound like the British football press. Here's why the thing you enjoy is actually a problem. This is the classic. It's like I love these guys, but every Michael Cox article is like this. It's like actually, this is bad for this reason or whatever. So that is it. Those are tomorrow's matches. We'll be back tomorrow with another World Cup minute. We'll have one more round 3 match set of matches to talk about, and I'm looking forward to tomorrow's games. See you soon.
All right, take care, guys.
Bye.